I was hearing with this storm, and I don't know if it is with every storm, but that south of the eye was going to have the worst impact as far as flooding and other issues. If you are someone who is considering evacuating, or I guess maybe you have already evacuated and you're looking for updated information, I will say the old meteorologist that I used to work with at WFTS, Dennis Phillips, I think he does a pretty good job. I don't know if you watch him, Dad, but
No.
Denis. He's a 1N Dennis, like I'm a 1L Allison. And he's been in the business a long time. And yeah, I mean, he's a TV guy. So there's going to be some selling, I guess, to the news. I mean, he's not going to try to bore you, obviously, but I do think he understands the gravity of the situation with people kind of starting to lose their minds. Because I'll show you a video in a second of the Tampa mayor basically saying you're going to die if you don't get out of the evacuation zones this time. But anyway, he's a good guy to watch. If you want to support the show, keep reports like this going where you get to hear from somebody firsthand. That's what I always try to do with my interviews, no matter what the topic is. AllisonMorrow.locals.com. We got a live chat going over there. It's $5 a month. Great way to support the interviews. And then also you get to put your questions in ahead of time for interviews. And you can send me mail. P.O. Box 3355, Denellen, Florida 34432. So one of the problems has been that we just had Hurricane Helene pass by a couple weeks ago. And there's significant damage on the beaches, particularly yours, and then south, like St. Pete Beach, Madeira Beach. People lost their entire homes, and now we've got a direct hit coming our way. So it's like we haven't even cleaned up the first mess. Now we got a really big storm coming in. What do you think about that?
The advantage for me was I cleaned up, and I didn't put anything back on the floor because I was clean. Most of the cleanup is clean the floor anytime you have a flood. So the advantage was I didn't have to pick anything up off the floor like last time. Still, there were some, but not nearly what I had to pick up. And then when I come back in the house, it's going to be easy to clean the floor because everything's up at least 6 inches, and a lot of stuff 3 feet or more piled on top of each other. The disadvantage is those people that didn't clean up are really putting everybody else in harm's way. I'll give you an example. As I walk toward the street, the city of Clearwater really let us down. I was lauding their efforts initially, but you can see all the debris here behind me and in front of my place, all the way up and down the street. And
that stuff is all going to be a flying projectile. That's crazy.
Yes. Yeah, that was, the city of Clearwater really dropped the ball. I heard secondhand that they have their own trucks, that it wasn't a matter of enough contractors to get it done. It was just a matter of they decided to do something else.
What about the federal government? Because I've seen reports from people who are contractors taking trash, and they said FEMA wasn't letting them in the landfills. They were having issues taking the trash and putting it somewhere. There was one guy that does that for a living, and he said he was having to start charging customers and looking for other places to dump because they weren't able to take the trash to landfills due to whatever FEMA was up to. And I can't confirm that. I just saw him post on Instagram, try to get him on the show, and he never responded. But there could be something happening like that.
For sure, these governments, mostly the federal government, but sometimes the state government, and in this situation seems to be the city government, they take control, and we lose our freedoms. I much rather see local people take care of local problems. We have, a lot of people with a lot of money paying a lot of taxes on this beach. And if we were just allowed to prepare and take care of ourselves, I don't think there'd be any debris on the beach. But everybody, pays their taxes and says, well, the city will take care of it. And we see now that large organizations, government organizations, don't do well. They're inefficient. They make emotional, reactive decisions last minute, and all the debris on our street is just an example of that. Uh,
Yeah,
I expected them to come clean it up, and they never did.
yeah, I mean, that is just incredible that there's that much stuff left. I mean, that all that stuff is gonna be completely a huge mess. Like, with the storm surge that you guys could get, it's all gonna be carried where? I mean, somewhere on the island or out to the Gulf of Mexico, and then it could fly into windows, and, oh my I just can't believe that. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's insane that they wouldn't take care of this if they had the ability, which I heard secondhand that they did. So that's the debris. There still is readiness going on. Next door is the house under construction, and they've been very responsible. Um, they're tightening things down now, boarding up, and getting things out of the way so that they won't um, fly around.
Mhm.
Um, I took pieces of fence and cut them because they were full of sand. Here's some in front of me, and I put them on top of all the debris so that I have some really heavy concrete and sand in the fences, um, holding things down best I can. But my neighbor, he decided, I'll show you. He took his trash cans from his house and he moved them in front of somebody else's house and then left.
That sounds like a Floridian if I've ever seen one. Uh,
Well, from New York.
oh, New York,
Just
even
moved
yeah,
here.
even worse.
Just moved here. Yeah.
Even worse.
Um,
Well, yeah, I mean, the house across the street from you guys used to have raging parties, and unfortunately, Allison Wine Promo
yes.
was not a thing back then, but I wish it was because I probably could have supported the show just on your neighbors who had those parties. If you're somebody who is not in the path of the hurricane, you want to support the show and keep interviews like this going, and you like wine, there is no better way to get an amazing few bottles of wine and support the show at the same time. I'm holding one of the bottles right now. This one's from Chile. They all come from very, very small operations, such limited operations that you would not be able to get wines like this in the United States if you were not in the Allison Wine Club. So join the Allison Wine Club. They were all hand selected for the stuff I like, which is clean food, clean drinks, no dyes and fillers and stuff like that, natural fermentation processes. A lot of these come from hand picked operations, or they're still using the same techniques from hundreds of years ago, multi-generational farms and vineyards. So go check it out, AllisonWinePromo.com. You'll get 6 bottles of wine every 3 months in the club, so you never have to worry about having a gift or a great bottle of wine for whatever you are celebrating or mourning at the time. Back to the regularly scheduled programming. We do have the farm cam and the chickens back up. They are about to get tied down. Dad, before you show us what is in your trunk there as you're about to evacuate Clearwater Beach, I do want to show this soundbite from the mayor of Tampa. Jane Castor used to be the chief of police of Tampa when I was a reporter in Tampa. She's on CNN and she's talking about what would you say if to people who are not going to heed your warning to get out of here?
Any dramatization whatsoever. If you choose to stay in one of those evacuation areas, you're going to die.
Wow. I mean, that is an incredibly blunt message. And I know you have a lot of experience dealing with these storms. You don't say something like that lightly, Mayor.
I've never said that. And 10 to 12 foot surge. I mean, if this takes a jog to the south, that's going to save us from the storm surge. But it stays on the track that it's projected to be on right now. Or if it goes a bit north, would be even worse. Some of the predictions.
Okay, so yeah, she says if you stay in the evacuation zones, you're going to die. She says she's never said that before, but it's really bad. What do you think about that?
Emotional overreaction. I wouldn't like her to be my mayor. I would like my mayor to stand up and say, listen, these are the preparations we have made. It's your decision to stay or not. This is your risk. based on all the forecasts that we have. And you're free to stay if you want to. If you do decide to stay, we have a management plan for those that decide to stay. And this is what we recommend you do as your leader. And this is what I'm doing as your leader. Just horrible, playing God. You're going to die. I mean, egotistical, emotional reaction, ill-prepared, terrible leader.
Well, CNN, they love it because they titled it, "You're Going to Die. Tampa mayor issues dire warning about staying in Milton."
Of course.
So they love that
They
stuff.
love it.
Well, listen to what preceded it, because you can see this traffic. This is people trying to get out. And, folks wonder why we in Florida balance what the cost is of leaving with what the risk is for staying. And this is why when an entire state is stuck on a road, and first off, where are you going to go? Do you have, like in our case, we have 37 animals on our farm. We are not in an evacuation zone, so it really doesn't make sense for us to clog the roads and get stuck in this. So we're not leaving. That's why we're not leaving. We're not in an evacuation zone. We're not in a flood zone. And we also, our house has been here 50 years. I know that we haven't had a storm like this in 50 years, but we are going to ride it out here simply because it is very difficult in a lot of these cases, especially when you have a mayor telling you're going to die if you don't get out. You end up in this. So listen to what she's saying here.
What would you say to people tonight who are saying, you know what, I'm going to ride this out. I've ridden others out. What would you say to people who aren't heeding those evacuation orders?
Well, I can tell you right now that they may have done that in others. There's never been one like this. And this, Helen was a wake-up call. This is literally catastrophic. And I can say without any dramatization whatsoever, if you choose to stay in one of those evacuation areas, you're going to die.
Okay.
Wow.
So the CNN anchor doesn't even break face or anything. She just goes, "Wow, that's very strong words." She's very monotone about it. So anyway, it's very interesting. But yeah, she says, "Look, we've just never had this before, and all these people are getting out, and we went through Helene and it wasn't even that bad." What do you think? How did going through the last hurricane a couple of weeks ago change your perspective on deciding to evacuate? Because you stayed for Helene.
I am evacuating this time because this is more of a direct hit. The last one was 100 miles off shore. It was going north of us, so higher storm surge. This one seems to be going a little south, but this one, the eye of the hurricane is much closer. So I'm evacuating. It was supposed to be a straight on hit. We're supposed to be ground zero. That's not something to play with. Category 3 by the time it gets to us. Category 4 right now. That's very destructive. Not just flooding, but winds can do a lot of damage. So I'm evacuating.
Yeah, especially in the situation you're in right now with all that trash still left out.
All the debris, sure, it's going to be flying around. Yeah, this is a very dangerous place to be, and I don't know. I know most of the people that usually stay on Clearwater Beach, and they've all gone. One went to Miami, one went to Orlando. My friend whose house I'm staying in, he happened to be in Orlando. Another friend of mine happened to be in North Carolina. He's staying there. Another friend of mine is evacuating to South Carolina, and I'm the only one that I know of those guys that's staying here in Pinellas County, except for one of my neighbors, an ex-Marine. He's going to stay at a friend's south of here in Seminole. And I'm going to stay at a house that's 52 feet above sea level. There may be some wind damage, but it's not going to flood.
Do you want to show us your packed car, your packed vehicle? And did you get I know you normally drive a Volkswagen sedan, so did you get that off the beach, or what's the plan for the car?
My Volkswagen's on the 3rd floor of the local parking garage, about half a mile south of here. It's where they charge the public to park to go to the beach, but they open it up for free for us. And so my Volkswagen's on the 3rd floor there. It's got my electronic equipment inside and in the trunk, and it's against the wall. And in fact, it's against the west wall. So I think it's going to be safe there. And I have our Honda, and it's car ready. And I just brought my most important belongings, my golf clubs, my soccer bag and soccer ball, and generators and gasoline. So here it is.
All right, let's
I
see
don't know
it.
I don't know if you can see the back there.
Oh
I've
yeah,
got
look at all that.
gasoline generators. I have a beautiful Coleman camp stove and propane. That thing just fires up. And with my system, that gas can that's sitting on top connects to 2 generators. 5 gallons of gas goes 24 hours for me from my house. So, if they'll let me back on the beach, that's a big if. I'll be fine. The problem is, I might have to walk along the beach to get to my house. They might not let my car in, and I'll do it if I have to. I will get a generator hooked up. If I have to walk the beach all the way, I'll do it.
Is that because, yeah, I mean, usually have, like in our case, we have refrigerators full of food. Like we buy really high quality food, so I'd hate to lose it. Is that, did you take your food out of the refrigerator? Are you taking it with you? Or because, yeah, how do you get back and plug that generator into your own house to save stuff?
The freezer that I have will keep stuff frozen. I know from the last storm, will keep stuff frozen for 48 hours. So it's
Nice.
not like I have to rush in the next day, but by 48 hours, I want to plug it back in. Otherwise, we're going to start getting flies and maggots. That happened
Yeah.
to me one time years ago when the plug, the outlet for the freezer, they had tied to a GFI outside somehow. The electrician had. And so the GFI flipped for some reason outside, and then the freezer died. And I was away for a week on vacation. When I came back, it was just maggots and flies inside the freezer and a bunch of, old meat. That was a mess. I don't want to go through that again. I'd rather drag a generator along the beach than have to go through that again.
We got the last generator in town. Well, okay, that's probably a little bit of hyperbole, but I found out the farm store was going to have one coming in on their truck. I called right as they said, well, we don't have any, but between you and me, there is a truck headed this way. They wouldn't even tell me from where because they're so nervous about telling anyone where the truck was going to be. But they said it'll be here at some point, probably in the next hour, but we're not going to hold it. It's first come, first serve. So Lily and I jumped in the truck and we ran over to the farm store and we secured the last generator. So we're very happy to have that. And if you want to see how our farm fares through the hurricane, go to Off Gridish Living. That's where I post all the farm adventures, Off Gridish Living. That's my YouTube channel over there. Look, the last couple videos are about hurricanes. So anyway, we've had really, man, this has just been a tiring season. Probably not on everybody's minds right now, but if you are still worried about your dental health, you don't want your teeth going to fly out in hurricane winds, they're not secured, then get your teeth secured with a product that I've been taking, my dad's been taking for a long time, greenpasture.org. Use promo code Allison for 10% off. It's amazing for your dental health, brain, immune system, everything. Fermented cod liver oil and concentrated butter oil blend. I like the cinnamon tingle flavor, and they also have capsules. Our kids take it. Dad here, he was able to heal his need for root canals with this stuff. I used to get cavities all the time and taking it now for over 10 years, 12 years or so. And I can't recommend it more highly. So greenpasture.org, promo code Allison for 10% out of checkout.